Alcohol is sneaky, and if you're thinking of stopping drinking, there are 10 things that you must be aware of. And after not drinking myself for 6 years, I can say that these 10 things will change the game for you. Now, whilst all 10 are equally important, I have saved the best till last. The 10th point is the most important of all, so make sure to watch this entire video, and now let's get into it. The first thing that will happen, and it doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to almost everyone, is that reality is going to hit you. And sometimes it can hit you hard. If you drank alcohol for a long period of time, you might have spent a long time escaping your problems. And when you stop drinking, you get a lot of clarity. Now, that clarity is a good thing, but for some people, it can also be a bad thing. And we'll explain why it is actually good, but it can be maybe I should rephrase it, it can be a painful thing. And what I mean by this is that we can start looking at our life and thinking, okay, well, my relationship is actually not that great. And my work and my financial life is not really where I want it to be. And then I look in the mirror and I think, that's not really how I want to look. And when we've escaped those problems for years, it can hurt. Now, the good news is that if you're not happy with your life and you stay sober and you don't drink, you can turn your entire life around. But I want you to be aware of it. I've worked with people who, a year sober, have got divorced. I know that sounds crazy, but they've got real with themselves. They've admitted that they're not happy in their relationship. And rather than drinking and escaping fixing the issue, they finally stepped up and fixed it. Crazy things can happen when you stop drinking. That's exciting. You can change. Man, that's awesome. Which leads me to the second thing to be aware of. And when you first stop drinking, the first few nights, maybe up to the first week for some people, is sleep can suffer. So the problem is that alcohol reduces something called sleep onset latency. So alcohol can help you fall asleep, but then it destroys the quality of your sleep. And for some people, for the first few nights of stopping drinking, they can find it much harder to fall asleep because they've used alcohol as a sleep aid. And then they might have some slight withdrawal where they get a bit sweaty or feel a bit flu-like, but just expect the first few days to not be that great, but it's temporary. Almost everybody I've worked with in the Sober Clear program, which if you want details on, you can go to soberclear.com or you can click the link in the description to go to the website. Everybody I've worked with has said the first few nights kind of sucked, but then they almost forgot what good sleep was like. They're sleeping all the way through the night, they're sleeping 7-8 hours, and they're feeling so refreshed. So you could expect some of the best sleep ever, but just expect the first few days to not be that great. The third thing is the first few weeks can also feel a little bit strange. It can take you some time to adjust. You can feel like something's missing out, like something's just not quite right. If you've drank for a long period of time, you've removed something that's been there for ages. So of course it's not going to feel 100% the same. But again, this is temporary. But I just wanted to warn you that if you do feel like, it's just doesn't quite feel right, it's totally normal. The fourth thing you need to be aware of is entertaining this idea of having just one drink. Now, I think I read this in a book. I can't remember where I got it from, but somebody once told me if you could drink just one drink, most of the world would just drink one drink and then never drink again. That's not how it works. Drinking alcohol is drug addiction, right? It's a chain reaction. You drink one drink and then you drink another and another and another until you stop. And the chain reaction never ends until you finally say, that's it, I'm done. And this idea of having just one drink is a fallacy. There's no such thing. Every time I've relapsed, I told myself, I'm only gonna have one. I'm just gonna drink tonight. Every single time it ended up in the exact same place. So just be aware of that voice in your head thinking it's a good idea to have one drink because I'm almost sure it will come up for you. The fifth thing that you definitely need to be aware of is envying these normal drinkers. When I struggled to stop drinking, I used to look at people that drank alcohol and had, a couple of glasses of wine every so often and had their life together. I used to look at those people and want to be like them. But I wouldn't feel that way if I knew somebody smoked heroin on a Friday night and then their life was fine as well. I wouldn't feel that way if somebody had, they were able to smoke 3 cigars and that was it. I'd just be like, no thanks. But why with alcohol did I feel this way? Well, the problem is that I kind of still wanted to drink. I still thought alcohol made my life better. So when I'd see somebody drinking and they've got their life together, I'd be like, well, if they can do it, why can't I? Listen, I don't envy normal drinkers anymore at all. If anything, I feel sorry for them. Even if they only drink a small amount, it's still doing nothing for them. It's still a crutch. And even for people that drink a very small amount, their life would be better without it. There's no benefit to consuming any amount of poison, of ethanol. If it was beneficial, doctors would be recommending it. Are they recommending it? Of course not. The sixth thing you want to be aware of is feeling FOMO when you see other people drink. Now, this is different to envying a normal drinker. This is if you see people that are getting a little bit, having a few too many. Because here's how it can play out. You see those people drinking, you have a thought of drinking, you feel a sense of FOMO, and then what do you think happens? Well, that thought leads into FOMO, which leads into a craving. If you see A group of people drinking, having a good time, they would have a good time regardless of the alcohol. If you're feeling FOMO when you see other drinkers, it just means that you've got a positive association with alcohol and socializing. That's fixable. You can fix that belief. If you want help doing that, then there's a free video training that you can watch by clicking the link in the description. That will show you a new method on how you can reframe the way you view alcohol using something called first principles thinking. So if you want access to that, click the link down below. You'll put your name and email address in, then a new video will start playing. But once you've watched that, you'll understand how to never feel that feeling of FOMO ever again. The seventh thing you want to be aware of is replacing alcohol with other drugs, with sugar, with sex, with anything. Any compulsive behavior that you might replace alcohol with isn't good. Because if you've fixed the way that you view alcohol, if you've changed your worldview, you'll see that alcohol, there's no need to replace it with anything. Because all you do when you stop drinking is you replace alcohol with an amazing life, with better health, with better relationships, with more money. So why would we need to replace it with sugar or whatever people do? Well, the answer is you don't need to, provided you fix your worldview. Number 8 is a mistake I see many people make. They stop drinking and then that's who they become. All they do is focus on not drinking. They make that their biggest achievement in their life. I'm not knocking those people, right? Maybe for some people it is. Because for 99% of the population, stopping drinking feels so difficult and hard. So they feel like they've made an achievement. But I'm of a different school of thought. I'm more about changing the way you view alcohol, fixing your paradigm, fixing your worldview, making a decision to stop drinking, and then putting that part of your life behind you. Not revisiting the past and sitting around in circles telling war stories and calling myself an alcoholic for the rest of my life. No, thank you. I wanted to fix my drinking problem the same way that I'd fix a gluten intolerance. You know, if I woke up with a bad stomach, I'd stop eating bread and that would be it. I'm now just somebody that's gluten intolerant. What I would recommend is not making being a non-drinker the focus of your life. Even though my channel is called Sober Leon, right? You want to focus on the future. You want to focus on a vision of who you're going to be now you've beaten the drink. The ninth thing you want to avoid is being overly confident. And what I mean by this is you might feel good about not drinking, but you don't want to get cocky. You don't want to start putting yourself in really, difficult situations where you're uncomfortable, you're unhappy, and alcohol's there. I'm around alcohol a lot. If people drink around me, it doesn't bother me one bit. But you're never going to catch me in something like a nightclub because I don't like nightclubs. It's dark, it's loud, I can't hear anybody speak, I don't dance. And in the first few months of stopping drinking, I avoided those places because I didn't want to be overly confident. Sure, I was confident, I was certain about my decision, but I didn't want to almost pull a hand grenade and go and do something stupid. So just be careful. And the 10th thing that you want to be aware of is thinking you can do it alone. Can you do it alone? Of course. But the chance of succeeding is so low. It's probably less than 5%. And if you want to do it together, if you want my help and my team's help, and you want to go through the system I've developed, which is about reframing alcohol using first principles thinking, we're accepting new clients right now. And if you want to see if it's a good match, you can either go to soberclear.com to read about the program or click the link in the description and book a call. There'll be a short phone call where you and a member of my team will get on a phone call together and we'll really see if reframing alcohol is the answer for you, because we only want to work with you if we're sure we can help you. So we'll explain how it works, then you can either do it alone, we'll give you a plan to follow, or we can do it together. So again, click the link down below. Don't be a hero. There's no shame in getting help. Athletes have coaches, CEOs have coaches. There's no need to suffer alone. So click the link down below. Have a great day.